As we look forward to 2024, unfortunately, we are facing one of the most difficult real estate markets we've ever seen. Furthermore, this real estate downturn is different from prior real estate downturns. Many of the assumptions that our clients previously made and strategic decisions that they made no longer hold. Fortunately, we at Logan Morris have extensive experience representing both borrowers and lenders, and from that experience can advise our clients in these difficult times.
The most distinct thing that we're seeing in this cycle that we haven't seen in prior cycles is the manner in which lenders are exercising remedies. In the past, we might have pursued a deed in lieu of foreclosure or an actual foreclosure if we wanted to dispose of an asset that was distressed. We haven't seen that type of activity in this environment. Instead, what we're seeing are unusual remedies, such as a commercial short sale, or a discounted payoff, or a receivership sale. Each of these leads to somewhat custom outcomes, unpredictable behavior by lenders, and uncertainty in the eye of the borrower.
From a lender's perspective, I think there are three essential differences between this downturn and the last great downturn in 2008. The first essential difference is that we're looking at long-term problems in the real estate market now. The failure for people to return to work after COVID-19 is turning out to be a long-term problem as opposed to short-term problem of unemployment in 2008. Second issue that we're seeing is that we have a rising interest rate environment. In 2008, the Fed was able to cut interest rates. We haven't seen that yet from the Federal Reserve. In fact, we've seen interest rates rising, and that's had a chilling effect on the credit markets. The third difference that we're seeing is in who our clients are. In the intervening period between 2008 and 2023, we saw a number of developers and opportunistic funds enter the market, and they often have different strategic needs than traditional commercial banks and insurance companies that were in the lending market previously.
At the outset of loan difficulties, one of the first things we talk to our clients about is understanding who their lender is. Understanding who's sitting across the table when you're having these types of conversations about the asset and the loan is important, as it will inform you as to what the potential motives of that counterparty might be with respect to your property. We also talk to our borrower clients about pre-negotiation agreements and forbearance agreements and whether those might already be in place or are necessary at this particular time. Those agreements protect both borrowers and lenders, and they also can be a tool to buy some time while the parties work out a more productive resolution on the loan issues at hand.
At the outset of a restructuring or a workout, a lender needs to understand what the root cause of the problem is. Where has the loan gone bad? Whose control are the underlying facts within, if anyone's? And so an initial way to address it will be, of course, to enter into a pre-negotiation agreement. A pre-negotiation agreement maintains the status quo so that the parties can have a free and open conversation without being locked into an agreement that was unintended. And it may be that after entering into a pre-negotiation and having the agreement and having those kinds of discussions, that a short-term forbearance or a loan modification with an extension period of some kind is warranted.
Sponsors may be inclined to hand the keys back to their lender when they have determined that they do not foresee any means by which they will recover the investment they've made in their asset. And in particular, when the asset will require additional funds to be invested, for instance, for tenant improvements or capital expenditures, sponsors may make the decision that they're no longer willing to send good money after bad. Another consideration that sponsors may have when they are determining whether or not to hand the keys back to their lender relate to recourse considerations. And when a sponsor elects to proceed with a deed in lieu process, they cut off, in a way, potential liability that could arise under the non-recourse carve-outs for raising defenses or potentially interfering with lenders' exercise of its remedies. And as a benefit to proceeding with a deed in lieu process, sponsors are usually able to negotiate a release of liability under the non-recourse carve-out guarantee.
Strategically, lenders don't always want to take back a property that a borrower is offering. The first primary reason why this might be so is, particularly in this market where there are long-term issues with the market, the lender may not want to be in a position of trying to hold on to the property for an extended period of time, paying carrying costs. Also here in New York, we have extensive transfer taxes. The lender may not want to be put in a position trying to pay a high transfer tax to acquire the property and then pay a transfer tax years later to convey the property out. Second reason why they may not want to take the property back is they have alternative solutions to the issue. Often the big primary issue is they want to control the cash and control the cash flow through a lockbox and cash management and or having a court-appointed receiver put in place.
To avoid lender liability, a lender should pay attention to its loan documents and stick within its lane within the loan documents. Act like a lender, don't act like the owner of the property. And so, for example, if a borrower, and we've seen this happen, were to advise you to move a desk into the borrower's office and help the borrower with the day-to-day decisions that it's making about the property, this is a bad idea. At first glance, it may sound great, but when you think about it, that's exactly what a borrower would love its lender to do, so that if anything goes wrong, the lender is sitting there in a blameworthy position. So, as a lender, you look at the loan documents, you issue your approvals, you try not to overreach, you try to stay within your lane, and if something feels like you're overreaching, you're probably overreaching.